greetings, everyone. Greetings, greetings, greetings. We are so excited to be here today. My name is Leslie Montgomery, and you are tuned into LKM Kingdom Living Leslie's Lessons Learned. And today we have the fabulous, I'm going to say Miranda, Madeline. Smith with us, Esquire Madeline Smith with us, and we're just so happy to be here. I'm not going to say unfortunately, Minister Wanda's not able to be with us today, but we're still going to carry on, and we will miss her. Let's get started. So, somewhere I have a mirror. I just thought about it. Where's my mirror? On Leslie's. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna get it together, y'all. Y'all know I'm a little special, but it's okay. Uh, on Leslie's Lessons Learned, we speak about different things, and the whole concept of Leslie's Lessons Learned is for you to understand that even through life, things happen, difficulties, and how you come through it is what makes a difference. We talk about faith, we talk about relationships, we talk about the intricate parts of you, of being our being, which is personal growth. And we talk about mental health. But today, we want to talk about the beauty of the rose, or a rose, either or the a. And here, as we go forth today, you know, there's a few things that we say, and one of the things we say, and then I'm going to do the mirror. We like to say uh, to you, and we pray that you would say it to yourself and understand a world without you. And I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, is no. A life without you is like a world without color. I got it, Wanda. I got it. And we need you. And as we talk about the beauty of the rose today, you're going to see how intricate and how important it is for you to be well. So, I got my mirror, and as I look in the mirror, I can see a lot of things. I can see a lot of negative things, but I also see the beauty. I see where I stand in the place of roses among many other flowers, but I stand out. And I want you to know today that you stand out. We were saying in the background that a rose can't look at itself and say, I'm ugly. A rose just has to continue to blossom. And we want you to blossom today as we go forth. I'm going to give Madeline a chance to introduce herself. And she's no stranger to this platform. She's been here several times. And last week when she was talking, I said, okay. I said, so this time in the morning, you really not doing nothing, right? And she said, that's right. I said, okay, so you can come back and join us next Sunday and talk about it. So here she is today. Before she introduces herself, let me say welcome to everyone that is joining us. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank my sister. I know she's probably driving right now, but tuning in, taking a moment to tune in. But to each and every one of you, Lady Linda and Lady Dana and Lady um, Doreen, Lady Posh, you're probably gonna get me for that one. But anyway, I want to thank each and every one of those you and those that have not said anything. Thank you and welcome here today. We pray that it's something that we say that will cause you to continue want to live your life according to the will of the Father. All right, Miss Esquire, introduce yourself.
Uh, all right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Madeline, and I am a young lady who is living with vitiligo, absolutely loves it. Um, and the journey is God. has me in this season rediscovering myself, uh, and really beginning to live out, wanting to live out my anchor verse, and living for God and His will. So keep it short and simple.
She's very modest, but she's hands on. She's not a person that's not hands on, and we appreciate her being here today. We just thank her for even expressing um, her. I'm not her part of her life that she has embraced. I'm gonna say it that way, and not being ashamed of it. Wanting to talk about it, wanting to help others. Last year, was it last year or the year before you was on? 2 years ago.
Yeah, almost 2 years. 2 years.
And we showed, I might try to pull that up, the
Oh God. No, no.
yeah, 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 that scene where you did, and I always call his name wrong, and my granddaughters are always, and my grandson is always correcting me, but
Darman.
huh,
Darman.
yeah, she was on Darman, and I'm gonna try to find that and bring it up, because it's very much a part of who she is. But as we continue to talk today, I don't know if she remembers some of the things she was talking about last week concerning a rose, and she has an interesting story. But I want to start with this part right here. A very beautiful young lady sent me not just a dozen, sent me a range of flowers, and there were roses in them, and I wanted those roses to live. So I began to look up how those to make those roses live, and the things that they said was so interesting to me. It was merge them in hot water, merge them, and then put them in warm water to make them come back alive. And sometimes we have to be merged, can I say, when we're in a place that we feel wilting, feel like we're dying, feel like um, it's almost like the sun beating down on you, and in the midst of the sun beating down on you, it's just too much.
Mhm.
And you see flowers, period, begin to wilt because not being hydrated. And it says that even before you do this, to make sure that the roses are hydrated. So I thought that that was very important, the hydration. Today we're going to talk about hydration, not so much as water, but the word. So
Mhm.
I don't want to take away from the what we were talking about, but I just wanted to add that in as a segment, that if you're in a place that you need to be dehydrated, hopefully something today encouraging will begin to make you see yourself differently. So, Madeline, I don't know if I talked around a circle right here, but when you first started, you was telling me a story that took place last week after you got off the call. So maybe we'll start there and work our way through.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So after our call and we were talking, and we're talking about roses and we're talking about flowers. I went to the store, to do my, shopping for the weekend. It's the first time I'd seen that at this HEB. They had this whole display where roses were all on sale. And so it's those little inklings, and not, it's not little, right? It's God letting you know, giving you a God wink that we are right where He wants us. And this topic is so fitting, but it was just a God wink letting him know, letting me know rather, we were right on time
Yeah.
with this.
So you shared with us, and we were laughing about it a few minutes ago, but you shared with us last week some things about the rose, and we said you better write all this down because we need you to say it again. you know. And
Mhm.
Minister Wanda was like, I wish I had a recorder just to record what you were saying. But you have such a insight on things, and it was so rich and such a blessing just to hear you speak of that. So when we spoke about the rose, I don't even know how we decided to talk about a rose. I don't know if it was because we were saying you were one. I don't remember exactly, but uh, you have created such a life that you have blossomed as a rose. So I know we talk about what they call, I don't even what they call what you have, not by the name, but what category it fits under, which we know that that's a lie because you have already embraced and identified that it was a gift from the Father
Yes.
and
Yes.
that you have experienced both sides of the rock. You know, last week you talked about how everybody doesn't look at it as a gift. I guess I can say it that way. There are
Mhm.
some people that frown upon it or see it differently. So
Mhm.
when you look at your life and you begin to see your life and you see the how you blossom and how you have stuck out like a rose, what does that look like?
So for me, it is my vitiligo. I describe it as the gift that keeps on giving. And last week, what I shared with you and Miss Wanda, because I had made a prayer, I said, Lord, if this ever becomes so widespread, please pick my flower. And He did pick it. He picked it, and what I wanted, but ultimately what I would want all to really begin to do when it comes to their life is God has picked your flower and you're still here. Allow Him to do the work internally so that you bloom and that your light, the light of God who is within you, that you share it with the world because your 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 pocket in this world, your corner in this world, be that beacon of light. And that's how I see my vitiligo, right? It's the gift that keeps on giving. My anchor verse keeps watering that seed that was planted. And so that's how we got into, we started talking about roses. And Miss Wanda had flowers right in front of her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And I believe one of them was a rose.
right. And we talked
And
about
that
the thorns. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the thorns and how we all come here with thorns in the flesh, right? But also thorns do help to protect. Um, yeah, so that when it comes to vitiligo or whatever it is, right? That we all have an it thing. We all come here with gifts, but allow God to help you to develop your gift
Mhm.
and develop who you are in Him.
Yeah, and when you look at it, there's two sides to picking my flower,
Hmm.
and the side that you were talking about was not the side that he chose.
Correct, correct.
He chose to to make you stand out,
Mhm.
even with the condition that they would call you have. And in that, there was a process that had to take place for you to bloom and blossom.
Mhm.
You had to go through the negative part of how you felt about it. You had to go through the part where you didn't embrace it at first, but you begin to learn how to embrace it. It wasn't like you got up one day, brushed yourself off, and said, I got it, and you ran with it. It was a process.
Mhm.
When you think about a rose, and I remember and I used to live in Willingboro, New Jersey, and some of the yards was just full of roses. They didn't have any grass or anything. They just had gardens of roses, all different color roses. And some people um, don't realize the beauty of a rose. Some people don't even like roses. Now, we're using roses today, but your flower might be an orchid, your flower might be a lily, whatever it is. It's important that you understand that you use it effectively. And with you, even in the field of being a lawyer, in the field of going in every day to be around people, I'm sure there was a time in your life that you really didn't want to be around people, or and I could be wrong, or you didn't feel comfortable being who you were when you went out. um, those are the times and the places where you have to get strength from the Father and understand
Mhm.
that even in the process of what other people think, you've got to know who you are.
Yeah.
When I think about myself, I can think of many reasons why I don't have to be who I am, but try to be someone else. Roses come up on a bushel, or I'm gonna say a bushel, but they come up on a stem, and the stem just creates more and more roses. Those roses is not looking at each other saying, I wish I was beautiful like you. I wish my stem was like you. I wish my color was as vibrant as you. They just grow and they do what they're supposed to do,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so when you think about it, and you were saying about you looked up what a rose was biblically.
Hmm. Yeah. And a rose, it symbolizes beauty, love, and the glory of God's creation. And something I did share, I remember sharing with you and Miss Wanda, is that roses are perennials. And the
Right.
difference between a perennial and an annual when we're talking about gardening, right? So an annual is a flower. It just has it will do a complete life cycle in 1 year, whereas perennials continue to come back, right? But it takes work in order for them to continue to come back. But the fact that roses also, if we're gonna, not just roses, but since we are talking about roses, how though a rose bush is able to grow even in some of the harshest conditions. Um, but perennials, when looking at what they mean, those are also the foundation of a garden, right? And so when I speak about that seed, the seed that was planted, right, going back to what God has been doing in me. Um, at that time, that seed was dormant. Once I planted that seed, and to be dormant means in a dormant state is essentially resting until the conditions are right for growth. And that's important in the sense of that over the years after I made that prayer and I planted the seed, would I get that anchor verse that would begin to germinate the seed? And when we're talking about gardening and um, when a seed begins to germinate, it's beginning to grow, it's beginning to sprout. It's no longer a dormant seed, but rather it's beginning to develop. And as God is developing you, we're going to all go through those seasons of pruning.
Yeah.
And do we want to be cut or do we want to be pruned? And there are times when, yes, God will cut things away. He has to cut the dead branches and the leaves. But all of this is prep before the promise. Whatever that promise may be, promises that He has inspirited with you. But as He's pruning you, He's refining you and He's developing your character, because that's something we've been talking a lot about, right? What God finds is beautiful, and it's the hidden heart of man, the word being hidden in your heart, and it being in there, and He's developing your character in the fruit of the Spirit. within you. So I did just want to, kind of share that when it comes to seeds and gardening and roses and what all they can symbolize.
And think about it, seeds produce seeds. When those seeds,
Mhm.
they produce other seeds. So in each and every one of our lives, we have to be in a place to understand what seeds are we going to drop. Are we going to drop healthy seeds or non-healthy seeds? Seeds grow. Seeds of life grow. Seeds, or I shouldn't say life, negative thinking grow.
Mhm.
And those seeds have to die so the healthy seeds can begin. And probably saying it wrong with the seeds and all, but that the healthy seeds can begin to grow. So what do I mean by that? Those negative thoughts have to die. Uh,
Yeah.
what's the scripture that says, I pick up my cross daily to follow him? Daily, we have to work on our minds and the process that our mind begins to create, because your mind can create something that's not real.
Hmm.
And when you begin to see yourself as being something other than what the Father said you are, that is a negative thought. And what does the enemy come to do? He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And his whole purpose is that you don't have life more abundantly. When a rose is put into the ground, you said it has to germinate, it has to die, and then it has to be rebirth. And reason why I'm saying rebirth, I'm thinking about these dolls they have out now that's called rebirth dolls, and they look and feel real. And my granddaughter has one, and when we was going to the airport, people thought it was a real baby. And the one of the TSA worker said to her, "Oh, what's your baby's name?" She told her baby's name. I don't remember what it was. And she said, "How old is the baby?" She said, "Oh, 3 months." And people, and we're walking through the airport, and people are like, "Oh, you're taking care of your baby like I take care of mine," and things like that. But I noticed the looks of people when they see something, even though it's not real. They're taking a double look to see, is that real or not? Well, that's the same thing with roses. When I received those flowers, I was looking at them and I said, they're so beautiful, they don't even look real. But in the process of it, it had a scent. And one of the things it says about a rose is that the fragrance, it has a capturing fragrance. And roses, they do, flowers, they do. So you have your own fragrance, whoever you are. And then it talks about, it says symbolic death, the deafness of a rose, not dead, but how deep the death of a rose, the depth of a rose. And when we think about it, I was saying that in the back, how we have to go deep. We only see, as you were saying, we only see the beauty of the process that already took place. When we see the rose, and the rose, it might not have even opened yet, but you can see the beauty of it. You can see in different colors, and certain you go in and you say, oh my God, those yellow roses are beautiful. Oh my God, that certain color is beautiful. They are vibrant. We have to be vibrant in our walk with the Father. We have to be vibrant enough to be confident in who He created us to be. And that's what you have become, not just you, like we were saying. Whatever you're facing in life, you have to become confident in who you are. you know it says it's subjected, that it invokes, or the different emotions in different people. It's like it says it's timeless, symbol of love, passion, appreciation. And when people see us, and not only when people see us, it's talking about our characteristics. Roses has its own characteristics. We have a characteristics. You look like you want to say something.
No. I'm agreeing with you when it comes to our character, right? Because that you know we don't see what all it takes for a seed to grow. We only see once it's bloomed.
The
It's
outcome.
begun. Yeah, we begin to see that, right? But you'd never see the work that took place in order for it to bloom. And that's like all of us. Wherever you are, begin to bloom where you're at, but make sure that you're in good soil, right? Because a rose, when you're gardening and you're doing, with plants, um, if you don't have good soil, or if you overwater, you do all this stuff, you will begin to kill that plant, that seed.
Yeah.
Um, and interesting enough, like with the passing of my grandmother, I'm now like a plant mom, and uh, I'm so invested in this plant and keeping it alive, and researching what all I need to do to keep this plant, because it means something. It's special to me. And in this process, God is, also, this is what I'm doing with you,
Yeah.
and what he does with all of us, right? Having to make sure that I get the correct fertilizer for it, making sure it gets the route the correct amount of sunlight, or just that's what he does with us as he's developing us.
So let's just stop there for a minute.
All right.
What is the right soil? What is the right light?
Well, for this, that's where you have to turn to God, right? He's going to tell you that. He will show you that. What is good soil when it comes to even what it is, that having to let go of those old ways as he's pruning you, having to let go of mindsets and habits, even sometimes certain people, right? And sometimes that good soil, he may have to repot you. He may have to take you out of the soil that you're in and put you somewhere else because it's better, whether that is a new job, whether that is moving, whatever that looks like. There is a time when, yeah, he will repot you and put you in better soil so that you can become closer to who he created you to be, and you can begin to really walk in your authentic self
Mhm.
as you develop and as you get closer to him, and he's beginning to develop the fruit of the spirit within you,
Gotta
right?
have
And
a
becoming
covenant.
more Christ-like.
You have to have a covenant. You
Mhm.
have to. You have to know who he is. You
Mhm.
have to know his characteristics and what he desires for you. He it says the rose, and I think that we when we look at roads, we always look at it one way, but when we look at it, it's a healthy way. We always look at it as being in a place where when we see it, we're so sentimental. When you see a rose, you're sentimental. And the first thing it goes to is la, 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 love. But it symbolizes that even with the Father, la, 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 his love. He said he so loved the world that he planted his son in the earth, that we would have an opportunity to come to him and know him and to serve him, to sup with him, sit with him, to understand his beauty. And yes, the beauty for ashes, the joy of oil, all these things take place when we are in relationship with him. He is the most, I can say, he's the biggest rose we have ever seen. You know, I can say that he causes us to shine. In the word Yeshua, which is Jesus, said, I am the light, and if the Father, the light of the Father's in me, and I'm in you, you are light as well. Our light begins to blossom when we begin to, what I want to say, turn over our old ways, when we want to relinquish those things that make us look wilted, that makes us look dead. You know, you can see a rose, and um, a rose when it's beautiful, and you can see when it's dead, but there's still value in it. We don't want to for people to see us and turn away from us because we don't smell good. When flowers, let's take the water of flowers. When you have it in a vase and you leave it too long, the water begins to stink, and the flowers can't bloom or blossom the way they need to because the water is tainted. The water is polluted, I'm going to say. And when you have polluted water, it might start there, but then it begins to stink up everything. Oh, that water stinks. You know, you walk past, oh, that water stinks. We don't want that to be our story. We don't want that to be a part of our lives, that we say we represent the Father, but there's no good thing within us. So we could take the rose, we could see the goodness in the rose, or we could take the rose and just, some people, they don't even value um, the life of a flower, or the life of getting a bouquet. They don't know how to take care of it. They don't understand and appreciate. It's just flowers. Some people just like flowers. Don't send me no flowers. They die. You know, don't send me no flowers. They don't mean what is that? They don't understand the value of
Mhm.
what someone has put into them so that they can show their appreciation for them. Do we see the value of the Father in us? That he's allowing us to bloom and blossom so someone else can see the beauty in us. It is so important that we understand that it's more than just what the eye sees.
Mhm.
Madeline, you are more than what the eye sees. You got a big heart. You have you're down to earth. You're a beautiful person inside and out. That rose that continues to blossom, continues to be a testimony. You are a testimony in who Yahweh is in your life. You are a testimony because now you're not wallowing in your condition. You're wallowing in the presence of the Father that has created this and allowed you to be this, to be a witness to someone else. When you see flowers, a lot sometimes you can see a rose and begin to think of someone else,
Mhm.
you know. So I'm gonna be quiet for a
No,
moment.
thank you for that. But we all have seeds. We're all flowers, and in order for our garden to grow, you know, we spend. I can't. I won't say we, but rather, I know I have expended more energy sometimes at that time, definitely when it came to having to get to this place of fully embracing my skin condition, my vitiligo. I expended more energy trying to revitalize dead branches.
Yeah,
And we do that. We fight change. I'm fighting with God, like, why me? Why this burden? Why whatever it was that I was doing, basically doing the enemy's job for him
right.
before just succumbing, surrendering to his will and really allowing him to begin to see myself and to see life with new eyes as he began that internal work. And that's something that we should all strive for, right? Lord, prune me, asking him to prune you, asking God, what dead branches, what leaves do I need to cut off? What is it that you need to cut off from me in order for me to begin to grow and blossom in good soil?
Yeah.
Um, that's definitely something that we should all, right? Because it says it right there in First Samuel 16, uh, verse 7. You know, people look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. He's looking at our heart and our character and making, that's something that we should be developing and depending on his provision for us and whatever that looks like, right? It's not just financially, but him pruning us and his provision for us and the things that we cannot see. Um, I think some of the most beautiful things about life are the intangible things. It's the intangible things that we
Yeah.
don't see that really make life beautiful, that make a person beautiful. We all have our own unique beauty. We just have to be willing to do the work and have the courage to continue to seek God and who He created us to be. That way, that light that we all carry, that it can really begin to shine and shine outward.
Hmm. I just thought about Katrina, who has the beautiful
A beautiful,
community,
yeah,
you know,
beautiful encounter.
and yeah, the beautiful encounter. And that's sort of what we're speaking about today,
Hmm.
embracing the beauty of who you are. You, everybody's not shaped the same, everybody doesn't look the same, and everybody doesn't have the same experience. And if we all did, it would be a boring world because we'd just be a whole bunch of duplication. And as Alicia say, Yahweh is not a duplicate, not a duplicator. You know, there's nothing about him that's duplicated through him. Everything is authentic, and each and every one of us are authentic in him. Now, one of the things it says about the rose, it says that the rose, even after adversity, symbolizes strength and endurance, beauty. You were talking about that. You said that through all kind of weather, the rose stands, and they have different roses. You have the tea roses, which are the little mini ones, and then you have the regular roses. And I've always, as a little girl, I always loved, I don't know why, the tea roses. They were just so dainty to me and so little. And they're little roses, but they're called tea roses. And the only difference is the size. They're still beautiful. They still bloom the same way, and each one of us might not be the same. We're not the same. We're different. Some might be smaller than others, and some might, or should I say, dainty. When I'm talking about dainty, I'm not talking about in size. I'm talking about in our character. I'm talking about us blooming, the blooming process. And yes, we have to be pruned. We have to be pruned. I even think about, and I'm moving away from the rose for a minute, because we did have roses in our yard, and they had to be pruned so that the next year when they come back, they would come back just as beautiful. We had fruit trees, and then the fruit trees had to be pruned in order to get healthy fruit. And so the pruning process is to make us healthy, to make us vibrant, to make us to be the colors that we have been created to be. So even in what we go through, and a lot of time, it's the pruning process that we don't like, where it's uncomfortable,
Hmm.
when you have a shift in your life and you're not, not, you don't understand the shift. It's uncomfortable when the Father is trying to do something different in you, and you feel it, and you don't know what it is, but it's not, doesn't feel comfortable. Why? Because it's change. People do not like change. And because we don't like change, a lot of times we fight what the Father's trying to do in us, because we don't want to feel uncomfortable. Pruning is uncomfortable. Pruning, we're not sitting back with a cup of coffee. Yeah, he's pruning me. We're not doing that. It was like there's a shift going on, and I don't know what it is. Why? Because now that the shift is taking place, we have to settle in to what that shift is. When you plant a rose garden, if you don't plant it from the seed, but you go and you buy it and you bring it home. Sometimes it has to get conditioned to the environment that it's around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's essentially, it's kind of like when you're repotting a plant. You are taking it from its its old pot, and you're putting it in a new pot. You're taking it away from what's familiar, right? And we like to be comfortable, but God's like, I didn't create you to just be stagnant. And so pruning isn't fun, but it's so necessary. And when you realize that you're being pruned, because quite frankly, that is what life is about. It's about evolving, it's about growing. So we're constantly being pruned, but when you begin to really sit in it, you begin to now see the beauty in it. And you'll begin to see the beauty of whatever it is that God is taking you through, whatever it is that He's stretching you and He's growing you. You can really begin to rest. And then He'll begin to connect the dots.
Right.
I had to stop fighting Him in order to begin to see the beauty of my gift, of my vitiligo. And interesting enough, like even after it was the Yes conference, it was like, man, God, I love this, right? I love my vitiligo, but at the same time, I'm a Black woman and I love my Blackness,
right?
And He was going through, I was going through another season of pruning. And by pruning, it is what this now looks like for me, right? I can love my vitiligo and I can still love my Blackness. And the two can coexist. He created me so that they can coexist that way, because I still have my light box. I still have.
Do you use it?
I do.
Okay.
Right? Because I felt guilty at one point after that. After the confidence, that was the very first one.
Right.
And then the Yes conference, I felt a little guilty about using it still. Remember, because as my niece said, that's what makes you special. And I'm sitting here talking to God like, well, how is it that I can fully embrace it and love it, but I still like my Blackness. Like, please don't take it all away from me. Like, I like being Black in this world. And He was like, oh no, I know who I created you to be. I know I created you as a Black, like, you're Black, and yes, you have vitiligo, and the two can coexist, and you can still do your light box. I'm not saying I'm gonna give you all your color back. I'll give you some, you can still use the Oxalor, the topical cream. You can still use that. And so it was in that pruning, me having to get uncomfortable in order to, okay.
Yeah, my daughter's my daughter's father's family, they have a lot of in their family, and it's something that if you don't embrace yourself in it, it's gonna overtake you.
It can, but that's with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just vitiligo, but whatever that may be that you're dealing with. If you do not get to, like, and I always say it's important to acknowledge, then accept, and then from there you can embrace. But until you acknowledge whatever it is, God can't change. He can't change you. He can't change. You have to acknowledge that thing first before you can really start to, you have to call it out. Even when that means sometimes during that pruning, calling out something within yourself and having that uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. I was sitting here and I was thinking about the conferences that we had, and how the first one was building your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go from building your confidence to saying yes to what's he's given you, what's in you, and where you have to go. And that the Father is so intentional with what he does. You know, he could have did yes first, then confidence. No, he said there's a building process that needs to take place before you could even say yes to what I've given you. And so we have to understand that there are places we have to get to, and whatever tries to stop us or stomp us, keep us from going, and to do what he's called us to do. It's a beautiful thing to understand. And I'm not talking about being conceited. I'm not talking about, oh, overconfidence. I'm talking about walking in the grace. And that's what you have done. You've walked in the grace of it. You didn't allow it to become conceited. You didn't allow it to shape you into being conceited, vain. You have a heart that is pleasing unto the Father. And I appreciate that so much, that when you come on, that you're so compassionate for people to understand that no matter what they're going through, that there's they have to accept themselves for who they are, accept who you are, what you have become in the process of it. Alfreda said, "Me too, madam," and I love my black. um, Pastor Daphne said, "You're beautiful," and you are. You are a beautiful person. So there's so much pertaining to the rose. A rose is a multifaceted beauty, continues to inspire and captivate, reminding us of the power of natural, authenticity, and the profound emotion that evokes. So, in other words, all of us are beautiful, and all of us have a multifaceted in beautiful, being beautiful.
Yeah.
We cannot at all think that we're just beautiful and no one else is. We cannot think that, um, and the beauty, I'm going to take it into, you might know more than somebody, you might be smarter than somebody, you might be more on top than someone else, but that doesn't make you more than that person. It enhances the whole group of us. It causes all of us to be in a place that beauty works together. Beauty doesn't work separately, it works together. So, Madeline and myself, we have to complement one another, not work against one another. If you're beautiful inside and out, your concern is not just you. Your concern is for everybody, because you have compassion. Beauty has compassion. Beauty has um, uh, a way of making other people feel beautiful. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does. It does. It's like one of the greatest things I love about this journey of getting to this place is that love is a root, but then the other thing that really became so um, evident in it's empathy, right? Really developing that and being empathetic and meeting people where they are. That way you can see the beauty and looking for the beauty in others, right? It goes also into like what I spoke about last week when I said, you become more sensitive to people, and really looking at the heart posture of a man. Um,
it's very important.
it is right? Because we've talked about those thorns, and when they are there to protect you, it's like there will be those flags, like this person isn't. They may basically it's a caution sign, right? But then there are other times when you can feel the heart of a person before they ever say anything to you. But you have to get to that place within yourself to begin to see life and people with a different lens,
Yeah.
and to hear the things that do not go said, that are unsaid. Um, so yeah.
So I have here a few colors of the rose. Oh, wait a minute, where's red? Oh, red. So red is associated with love and compassion. See, we don't, the compassionate part is very important, but when we look at a rose, and we do become compassionate, when you see a red rose, you like I said, your heart is like, oh, and it says that the pink is grace, gratitude, joy, suitable for expression, appreciation, and celebrating special moments. A white rose, purity and innocent. A yellow rose traditionally symbolizes friendship. An orange rose convey passion and empath,
Empathy.
for celebrating new beginning. Orange is representing new beginning. White represents purity and innocence. Yellow, what did I say? Friendship. Pink, grace and gratitude and joy, And the rose represents love and compassion. All those things are the characteristics of the Father.
Mhm.
And he portrays it upon us. I don't know why I keep seeing when Jesus went to the tree wanting some figs, and the tree had no figs, and he said, "This tree ain't. It's no fruit. There's no fruit to be found on this tree, and I'm just gonna get rid of it." We have to make sure that we're allowing him to do what he needs to do in our lives, so he doesn't turn his head. He doesn't turn his back, but he does. You see in the word where he's turned his head from some people. We have to understand that his purpose for us is to be fruitful, to multiply. His purpose for us is to understand and engage with him so that his love could be seen through us. His purpose for us is that he will be the best thing or the best portion of our lives. And right now there are uh, groups out here that's telling you not to. This is a new group that's on the uprise, and it's telling it's that they're out there evangelizing, telling people don't look to Jesus, and they're telling them that it's the artificial intelligence now to worship. Artificial intelligence can never take the place of our who we are. We're not fake. We're not a carbon copy, but we are the genuine thing that the Father has created with a purpose, and we have a destiny. We have to take that purpose and continue to move. And the main purpose is to build the kingdom. The main purpose is to do the will of the Father. And it's so important that we understand as we're blossoming, as we're blooming, that we have a place that we need to get to in the Father that will cause us to survive. Our survival mechanism is within having connection with the Father. So, do you have any last words?
Yeah. So there's this book that I'm reading, and one of the chapters that I'm on, it does talk about the bean. And I just want to read this because as we're
It
talking
talks about the what?
how we've been talking about flowers and roses and
Oh, it
blooming.
sounded like you said, like, "Beam me up, Scotty."
No, 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 no. Beam me up, Scotty. But it was talking about a bean. And I thought it was fitting that I had just come upon this one. And it was just something that I think is, it's
Okay.
perfect. And it says, we need to make sure that where we're planted and how we are planted gives us the best opportunity for growth. We need the healthy soil of God's love, the sunlight of the truth of His word, and the saturation of His grace in order to not only bloom, but to continue to grow into who we were created to be. So, as far as last words, it would be just that. And,
Read it one more time.
yes, ma'am. We need to make sure that where we are planted and how we are planted gives us the best opportunity for growth. We need the healthy soil of God's love, the sunlight of the truth of His word, and the saturation of His grace in order to not only bloom, but to continue to grow into who He created us to be. So may that be, my wish and hope for everyone. That you will begin to see the beauty of who He created you to be and allowing the light within you to begin to shine outward. And you do
Yes.
that by allowing God to develop the fruit of the Spirit within you, by getting to know Him and beginning to live for Him and live for His will for your life, wherever that may take you, however many times He has to repot you. Allow Him to grow you, that you grow in Him. Because that's how you grow. That's how you let your light shine. That's how you become a beacon of light in a fallen and dark world.
Yeah, well said. I don't have nothing else to say after that. But remember, you are beautiful. And as Pastor Daffy put the scripture up, fearfully and wonderfully made. And that's not talking about the outside as much as it's talking about the inside. You
Yes.
have to become the image of the Father. So that's beautiful inside, working on the outside. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for being with me again, Madeline. I
Thank you. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, we'll see you next week. Have an amazing day. And remember, you are beautiful. Till we
Yes.
see you next time. Shalom.